Welcome to Queers and Quills, the official podcast. I'm audiobook narrator Kirt Graves. Every episode, I invite an attending author or narrator to join me for a one-on-one conversation about their lives and their art, so attendees and readers from across the world can get to know them not only as professionals, but as people. Joining me today is Emily Rath. Emily Rath is a New York Times, USA Today, and #1 Amazon best-selling author of romance and fantasy. Her sex-positive, queer-inclusive books include the Second Son's Regency romance series, the Tuanella fantasy duet, and the Jacksonville Rays hockey romance series. Emily started her career as an indie author. Now, on Amazon alone, she's had 600 million pages read of her books. Her works have been translated into 12 languages and counting, and she's here on the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Emily Rath.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
It is so nice to meet you. Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
So we start every episode the same way by asking, what is your author origin story?
Yeah, I was the kiddo that I've always loved storytelling. So from my earliest ages, I remember my babysitter Erin. When I was still kind of too young to really write the stories, I would tell them, and she would write them down as I narrated,
Yeah.
and then we would do illustrated drawings together. And so it was like we would create these books. So when my parents came home, it would be like, this is like the cape of the,
I love that.
circular caper, so it just kind of grew from there of like my friends and I were the weirdos that our idea of a good time would be to do like 5-minute short fiction. If it's like,
Yeah.
I would get a notebook, I'd write for 5 minutes, then I'd give it to my friend Meg, and she would like read what I read, and then she'd write. So you don't know what the person's adding to your story. Like that's just always like, I've just always loved the written word, and I've always loved reading. It wasn't until I was in probably grad school that I really started writing things that were more like book shaped things. And then started thinking, I might try and publish this. But yeah, it's always been in there, that love of story and that love of storytelling. And then just it kind of taking the shape of novels and pursuing that happened in grad school. So
Yeah.
for another discipline, but that's okay. That's how that happened, right?
So you say you started indie. What was birthing that first book like?
Yeah. Well, I guess I should technically say I attempted trad. I was, the dream in my mind was always traditional publishing. I went into the query trenches a couple times with projects. So I was in the query trench for the second time with the book that has since become North is the Night, which is my fantasy debut. So that book was in the query trenches, and then everyone's advice is like, write the next thing. You can't just sit there and be desperately thinking about that book that's getting rejections. So I was gonna write the next thing, and then the pandemic happened. So it's like, I'm in lockdown. I'm in the query trenches. The world is on fire. I don't know what's happening. And so I was like, I'm gonna write something that's just for me. It's just me chasing my bliss. And so it was a super spicy Regency era why choose romance. So it was like smutty Jane Austen. and everyone was like, Emily, there's no market for that. 12 people are going to read that. And I was like, but I'll die happy. It's just like, because like, this is going to bring me joy during this era of pandemic. But I knew at the time, doing a why choose romance like that, they were not getting picked up by traditional publishers, even a couple years ago. So I knew the only way to do this is to independently publish. So that, more than anything, pushed me indie, even as I was still trying to go trad.
Sure.
So kind of a weird situation of, I got the first 2 books in that series self-published. And then my agent happened to be at a book fair in Germany, and all of these European buyers were like, where's the spicier Bridgerton? Does anyone have spicier Bridgerton? And she was like, I think there's a query for, but she had Googled me, like she looked up my website. She's like, I think I have something in my box that is that thing. But so she offered me representation, and we sold rights within a week.
Wow.
Because she knew there was a market for it.
Yeah.
So we sold rights within a week for that. which was fun. And then since then, I've been this kind of weird hybrid of doing a little bit of both, indie, trad, a little bit of both.
I can't help but think, though, there's a lesson to be learned there, though,
Yeah.
in like just going for it.
Yeah.
And that, like, understanding that, like, there's a path forward for this thing that I've created, and I'm going to continue to pursue that. But at the same time, I'm looking at the market, I'm looking at the world, and I'm thinking this thing that I've created just has a different path. One is not better than the other. It's just different. And so I'm going to go this route while I still pursue this route. That's okay.
Exactly. And just feeling like, why wait? Why wait?
Why wait?
Why wait?
That's
And,
it.
yeah. And the feeling, I have an author friend of mine, she gave me advice that changed my life. And I tell her this all the time, and I tell other people. It's Adrienne Young, who she does some YA fantasy. She's gone into some adult fantasy now. But I did a little writing workshop with her, and she said, no one will take you seriously as an author until you take yourself seriously. So it's like independently publishing, you have the power to transition yourself from a little A author, I write books, to a big A author, I publish books. You know, and it's a strange situation. It's kind of like, it takes a lot of moxie, I feel like, for all these independent authors to be like, I'm owning this. I am an author, and you're going to call me an author. And here are the books that I have published, and they are legitimate. And now all of us that are these indie authors, like Elsie Silver just had another debut. She was indie, and now she's #1, New York Times, Sunday Times, Toronto Star, Amazon, like just did a 7-figure book deal release. She was indie. She didn't wait. She's like, if not now, when? And like, there's so many of us that are having that story now. And it's just like, yeah,
I am the personal beneficiary of an author who was with an independent press and then went indie and then got picked up by a big 5 and like took me with them, thank God. But you know, like, so yeah, it's happening left and right, because I feel like the industry is finally recognizing that, like, oh, maybe we should pay attention to what the readers like.
Yes, exactly. Rather than us being in charge and delivering to the readers what we think they should have, you know? And so that's like I have so many amazing friends that do like monster romance. And I love getting to go into a trad store now and seeing monster romance on an end cap. And I'm just like, slay, you know, that it's like, because there's so much queer representation, there's so much, you know, diversity representation, body positivity representation in the monster space in particular. So I love it. And so to think that it's like, readers can control the market and readers can push change. Or even the fact that my super spicy Why Choose Hockey romance got picked up by a trad publisher. It's just like, that is reader demand. You know, that the publishers would have never sought me out if I had queried that. But I was able to come to them with sales numbers and say, do you want a piece of this? You know, and then there's yes. So it's been very exciting to see like kind of the power that readers have to change some of these markets and include some of these markets into trad publishing spaces for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, if only there could be some stability in the publishing world so we could learn a lesson and have it still apply 1 year later.
Yeah, no.
So like, I'm assuming then that your Why Choose romances are how you ended up in the queer space, writing queer characters.
Yeah. Well, so even with the fantasy that I did, North is the Night, that is it's kind of like a little coming out story for me as well. North is the Night is actually the first book I did that I had to own my own queerness. Because even when I was in like preparing to enter the query trenches, when I was kind of beta in the beta process with readers, I hadn't come out publicly about my own queerness. And so one of the issues that betas were pushing up against was feeling like, is this your story to tell? Because it's very sapphic coded of like two best friends falling in love with each other. And so there was kind of a strange situation. My cousins, two of my cousins have been very close with me and are really great readers, and they've been part of my beta process. I was on a video call with the two of them and one of my very dear author friends, who I've always been open with her about my queerness. I had never said it out loud to my cousins yet. And so we were on a call, and my one cousin brought that up and Jess was texting me on the side, do they not know? And I was like, they don't. And so Jess left the call, and it's like, because it's that situation of you feel like you have to come out, even if you don't feel ready, even if you're scared, because we've seen this too many times before of authors not coming out, telling a queer story, and the readers slam them.
Mm.
And then they're forced to come out. And, authors have lost jobs over it. Authors have had, if you're not ready, you're not ready.
Right.
But it's a tightrope that we can walk as queer authors I'm so grateful for it now that it's like my determination to see this book get published meant I had to own my own truth. So I'm grateful for it. But I was scared to death as well,
Yeah, listening to that story, I feel like I'm always of two minds about that experience, because of course no one should be forced to come out, but at the same time, and I hope this is changing, I don't know any queer people my age who would say they were ready to come out. There was some circumstance in our life that pushed us to come out, or we were discovered.
Yeah.
Or someone outed us. So for a long time, that was just part of the queer experience.
Yeah.
And again, I hope that's changing. I hope we're living in a world now where young queer people can take the time to figure out who they are. And then when they feel safe and ready, they can announce it and nobody blinks. But that certainly was, if publishing a book was the thing that made you have to come out, it's like, that is the queer experience, because we all had that something that made it happen for us. I wasn't ready, but like I was 17, my best friend came out, and there my mom was being like, do you think you're like Ben? It's like, oh, fuck. It's like, first of all, no, Ben's a slut. I'm just gay.
Yeah. Yeah, I am so grateful for it now, but it is scary. And then you just have it was liberating in that it's like, just lean in. Like, I'm leaning all the way in, and now I'm going to not stop talking about the fact that I'm queer and look at what that looks like. Cause I'm very straight passing. I'm married to a man. It's like I checked all the boxes that the Christian patriarchy wanted of me before I finally.
Congratulations.
Agree, right? So it's easy for me to pass. And so then you almost feel defensive about it, of like, you better not think that I'm straight. It's like ignore my family photos. Like, I am not a straight person. So that it makes me feel like even more of like, I'm going to own this and engage with it in my works. So all of my books in different ways I have lots of bioawakenings in my books and things like that are very much, I love to tell that kind of story. And so, in the Regency series and the hockey series, you definitely have that feeling of bioawakening. It was honestly a relief. One of my books is a Omegaverse, and that was the first story that I ever had to do where it's like, to me, in an Omegaverse, the default is pansexuality, right? The default is just, it's not about who you are, what you come with. If you are my fated mate, that's it. Yeah. And whatever you come with, that's what I want. And so it was the first book I ever got to write that it was just like, it was like an exhale, of it's like, everyone in this book is considered pan. And so it was so freeing that it's like, that it's not about that. And I don't have to deal with any of those emotions, and I don't have to go there. It's just free. Yeah. It was such a breath of fresh air.
That is the joy of those stories. Yeah. It's one of the joys of those stories, because there's a lot to love. But the people not struggling with their queerness is a big part of it. Yeah.
At least the way that I write it. I'm sure there are megaverses that maybe they incorporate part of that.
For sure.
I tend to prefer an Omegaverse where it's like every character's pan. Don't even think about it.
And I mean, there are contemporary stories too where they choose to just not make it a thing. And I think it's really important that we have those stories. It's really important that we have the stories where it is a struggle to come out. We have to continue to tell both. Because what I don't want is for straight people to think that it suddenly got easy. And everybody's fine now. It's a post-queer world. It's like, no.
No.
I still, every time I go out to dinner with my husband, have a confusing, scared little waitress being like, one check or two? It's like,
Yeah.
clock the wedding rings. Come on, man. Like, we were sharing a plate. Let's,
Yeah.
So, what were some of your influences as whether it was as you were growing up or like since you've become an author, what really influences and inspires you?
I think one of the most formative things about my life was my opportunities to travel. My dad was a commercial airline pilot for like 30 years, which meant 35 years, which meant that we did a lot of travel. And my family, by nature of, I had like 4 pilots in the family. So by nature of everyone's jobs, we were all really spread out. So it was never a case of Thanksgiving is down the street at grandma's. Thanksgiving is like 7 flights, 7 states away to get to grandma. So from my youngest ages, I was traveling and then being able to do standby. My parents could put us on a plane and I'd travel solo up to see my cousins and spend 2 weeks in the summer. And then that started turning into international travel. And I think through my academic journey and through the opportunities that I've been able to have to live abroad, study abroad, work abroad, it's just there's not enough that you can say about the benefit of seeing the planet that we live on and seeing how big it is, but also how very small it is, and just really feeling like if you can go to a rural village in Malawi and you can find a t-shirt in a giveaway bin from your high school, you're living on a small planet. You know what I mean? You're living on a small planet. And so I think that matters, that you can just kind of feel how close everything really is, even as it is a very vast place. So that's been a big game changer for me, was the travel I got to do.
I like that.
But other than that, I'm just huge into pop culture, books, movie, TV. I'm just voracious. I just consume,
Yeah.
I go through binge periods. Like when I'm writing my own stuff, I kind of have to shut everything else out, like shut off noise. I can't read new books. I don't like every TV show and book goes onto a TBR stack until I finish writing a book project. And then I just like binge, I'm like No Face from Spirited Away. It's just like, there is no enough,
Yeah.
I just binged like 4 TV shows last week. Like
Okay. I was about to ask, are you in a writing phase or a binge phase?
I'm in the almost done with writing phase. So they're starting to like bleed together as I'm just desperate for new inspiration. So like I binged White Lotus, I binged Severance. I've just been like media.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we go offline, we're going to talk White Lotus. So if somebody was coming to your work for the very first time and you wanted them to start with a certain book, where would you point them?
I think the most accessible thing that I have right now is probably North is the Night. So it's a fantasy, but it's not high fantasy. It's not going to be complicated. It's almost kind of more like a fairy tale retelling feeling to it. So it's very accessible. It's fast paced, kind of an action adventure, and it has low spice. So for people, I think it can reach the most different kinds of readers.
Sure.
If you're into spice, obviously, then I have kind of the range. If you just want a taste of my writing and you want the least commitment possible, pick up my novella, That One Night. So the novella, That One Night, it's a spicy one-night stand for 2 of the characters that are in Pucking Around. So it's basically like how they met, because Pucking Around, It's like within the first couple chapters of Pucking Around, it's like, he was my one-night stand, and now that's the kind of vibe,
nice.
Now I'm his doctor. So That One Night gives you that little introduction. So it's fast, 20,000 words. You can read it in like an hour, and you'll know if you like my style.
I love that.
Yeah.
Did that come first, or did you write that after the book?
It did come first. I used it as a newsletter builder. A couple of my friends had some good success with just like write a little prequel, give them a taste, have it be free. It was just like, sign up for my newsletter and you can read this for free. So that's how it started. And then once I published the main book, there was such a call for people to be like, we want that thing. So then I put it on to Kindle Unlimited, and the paperback is like as thin as I don't know, a deck of, like, not even a deck of cards, a half a deck of cards. It's a teeny, teeny, tiny little novella. But readers are just like, we have to have it in paperback. So,
well, that's a good sign.
Yeah, so I gave
That's
it to
a great sign.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've also invited you here to play a little game. Are you ready for that?
Yes. Hopefully.
Okay. So the rules of the game are simple. I have a deck of cards, and on each card is a question. Okay. The questions aim to learn more about you as a person. Some are biographical, some are hypothetical, some are silly. But I will not be picking which questions you're going to answer. Fate's going to do that for us. So I'm going to deal 3 cards every round. You choose one, and whatever card you pick, you're agreeing to answer, with a couple of exceptions. So you have 2 opportunities to switch things up. You can turn the tables on me one time, forcing me to answer the question, or you can also discard a personal question in favor of a more bookish question from our white deck, but then you're only dealt 1 card and you have to answer the one that's dealt.
Okay.
Are you ready to start?
You might have to remind me, but yes.
Okay, yeah. I'm here to help.
Tables, or it's discard.
Yeah, but then you're answering a bookish question, and some people have very strong opinions about bookish things, so you don't know what kind of trouble you could get yourself into.
Okay, we'll see.
I feel like I've been warning people off the white deck too much, and very few people have taken that avenue.
Yeah.
All right, round 1. Card 1, card 2, or card 3?
Card 2.
All right. What Guinness World Record do you think you could break at some point in your life?
Probably oh goodness. I could break a Guinness World Record talking about how we are in a current state of tumbling down the stairs of democracy into autocracy. I could do a 25-hour thing. I bet.
You could rival Cory Booker.
The political scientist in me, I could do it.
Yeah.
I could do it.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Card 1, card 2, or card 3?
3.
All right. Who are your heroes in real life?
Oh, heroes in real life. I'm going to turn the tables.
Oh. I'm going to say... Oh, that's... Okay, this is really interesting. The person who came to mind first is my 6th grade English teacher, Mrs. Burr.
Oh, I love that.
Because she ran the drama program at my middle school.
Yeah.
And she really championed me as a performer. And I don't think I would be doing what I am today if it hadn't been for that encouragement. Oh. She was also really encouraging about writing and creativity and storytelling in other ways. And even after I was no longer her student, she found me, she followed me. Not around. She followed what I was doing. She would come to shows that I was in,
Sounding sweet, and now it's not.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, no. So I would say she is one of my heroes.
Yeah.
And I would say my best friend from high school, we always joked we were just 2 halves of the same brain. Yeah. My friend Stephanie is another one of my heroes. She is just like a paragon of strength and kindness. She lost her mom when we were in high school to cancer and gave the eulogy at her funeral.
Oh, goodness.
As a high school freshman.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
And became a teacher. And so she works with high school kids now.
Yeah.
And she's just one of the coolest, kindest, most genuine people I know.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. You gave me goosebumps. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. She's part of the reason I admire her so much is that we are so different, and yet we think the same.
I love that. Yeah, but you can find that person of are we?
But we have, but we have very different personalities. I'm sort of cynical and crass and sharp, and she's just kindness and warmth and supportiveness. So
yeah. Oh, that's so great.
I could go on and on, but I'll name those 2. So, all right, card 1, card 2, or card 3.
Let's do 1 this time.
Okay. What's one bad habit you're trying to get rid of?
Bad habit. Does time management count?
Sure.
Just time management of losing track of time and not knowing how much time has passed to realize did I drink any water today? Or just realizing it's midnight.
Yeah.
I remember sitting down here this morning. So just like
Mhm.
time management of like break up your day,
Yeah.
feed yourself, walk around, live your life, time
Hmm.
management.
Have we had an ADHD assessment?
So I just did, I have a story about this on my Instagram. It has been a later in life thing for me. Even
Yeah.
in the past several months, I am on that journey now of like, I am convinced that I have ADHD, and that it has run rampant over my life, my whole
Yep.
life. Like now it's like a looking back thing.
Welcome to the
The
club.
signs are there.
Where we are numerous, especially in the creative arts. Like
Yes.
there are a lot of like high functioning ADHD people in
Yeah.
creative fields.
Yeah. Well, and I
Yeah.
think because it presents so differently in women than men, like every
Hmm.
woman that I talk to, like, because a big part of my journey has been that my son has ADHD. So we've had to go through the
Mm.
process of like getting him medicated so that he can be thriving in school. But with the HD part in particular, it's the hyperactivity is like a physical motive, like
Yeah.
activity where he'll just have to like run back and forth. And so in my mind, that's what I picture. I picture like a young boy who can't sit still, but all of these adult female friends of mine that are all getting diagnosed and starting medication and being like, it's literally changed my life. All of us, our hyperactivity is our minds.
Yep.
Where it's like one of my readers, she said that she was getting tested for it, and the doctor said, "Do you ever experience racing thoughts?" And she said, in the moment, my answer was no. But it was like a light bulb that went on later where she was like, all my thoughts are racing thoughts.
Yes. See,
Racing
this is my
activities.
issue with healthcare
Yeah.
because they ask a question like that without establishing a baseline.
Yeah.
Like, I also use a CPAP machine and found out I have sleep apnea
Hmm.
after years of going to appointments, and they were saying, "How are you sleeping?" And I was like, "Fine, normal." If somebody had stopped to ask, like, "Well, what is normal for you?" It's like, "Oh, I get up like 5 or 6 times to go to the bathroom, and I generally wake up feeling tired, but after some caffeine, I eventually feel awake."
Yeah.
They might have been like, "Oh,
Not normal.
that's not okay. That's not
Yeah.
normal. Maybe let's investigate that." Same with ADHD.
Yeah.
Same with, OCD and some, it's
Yeah.
just like, can we establish a baseline? What is a racing thought?
Yeah.
That,
Exactly.
that thing you're doing right now.
Yeah.
That is a racing thought. So,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. That went deep. Round one, round whatever. Card one, card two, card three.
3.
Three. Do you have a favorite number and any particular reason why you like it?
A favorite number. The number that came to my head, I can't give you a reason, but you said, "Do you have a favorite number?" And inside my brain went 17.
Brilliant. Prime
I
number.
can't tell you why.
Looks good.
There you go. 17.
Sleek. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
it. Card one, card two, or card three?
2.
Two. You have $100,000 you have to donate or create a charity. What do you do?
So I would actually donate it right now to, I live up in Washington State. I would donate it to the Bainbridge Island Land Trust. So there's currently a project where at the heart of the island, they've been trying to carve out space and protect it from development, and maintain a wildlife corridor. And we just found out that a huge plot of the land that would basically gut the heart of this protected land is now up for sale, and that it could be taken by developers. So we're volunteering now that we're here with the Bainbridge Island Land Trust. They have this thing called Stand for the Grand Forest. Because if we can raise the money, then we can buy it and put an easement and protect it so that it can't be developed into 10 houses, instead of it being
Yeah.
this beautiful protected land with hiking trails.
A very worthy cause.
Yeah.
And it would. It would end up being like 10 mansions.
Yeah. 10 houses. Yeah.
God.
Not worth it.
Come on, America.
Please.
We can do better.
I want the owls.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I think we have time for a couple more rounds. So, card one, card two, or card three? Two. If you could send a message to the entire world, what would you say in 30 seconds?
Oh, goodness. Um, the thing that came to my head just now is like, you're in a cult.
Yeah.
Like it would have to be, it's like a message, like I get to send the message, but they have to actually hear it and they
Yeah.
have to think critically about it. And the message I would send to most people everywhere would be, you're in a cult.
Yep.
You're in a cult. Like,
I like
there are
it.
ways to break free.
Mm-hmm. And there are so many cult-like things that, I mean, I've
Religious.
been there. I mean, nothing that would people consider a cult, but like I was Catholic for many years. So
Oh yeah,
like,
I consider, I'm ex-evangelical now. I 100% consider it a cult.
you know, so, all right, last round, card 1, card 2, or card 3.
You're making me want to try the other thing though.
Okay.
What do I say?
The bookish question. You want
Turn
the white
TV
deck?
No, discard.
All right.
From the deck. Yeah, we'll try it. Last round.
All right. You got lucky. This is not controversial, I don't think. What book character do you most relate to?
Oh, a book character I most relate to. One of my all-time favorite characters, she has inspired so much of my life, is Sabriel. So Sabriel was written by Garth Nix. So that's the Abhorsen Chronicles.
Mm-hmm.
So Sabriel is this kind of loner. She is an Abhorsen, so she's like a necromancer. So she kind of wanders the old kingdom with a cat that is definitely not a cat, and she has these adventures, and she's just kind of this lone wolf taking care of business, wielding this really cool, incredible magic. And like, to me, at the age I was when I read it, I was just like, oh, I want to be her. I want to be her. I think part of it too is like, even then not knowing it, of like the sapphic awakening of like, I want to be her. I want to be with her. I want everything that is about it. And I want her house, because she lives in like this amazing house that's in the middle of a river at the top of a waterfall that has an astronomy tower. I could keep going. That could be the other thing I could talk about for Guinness record. No.
That's so funny. You are the second person in a week to talk to me about a Garth Nix books.
Oh, really?
Garth Nix book. And it wasn't even the context of another Queers and Quills interview. It was somebody else I was talking to who was like, I really like this Garth Nix book.
Yeah. It was very formational for me, of just like, I resonated with her, wanted to be her. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for taking a risk and going for the white deck. Yeah, we haven't had that much very often, but
just as a for instance, what kind of like controversial stuff is in there?
I know there's a question in there about, do you use bookmarks or do you dog ear your pages?
Okay, I dog ear 1,000%.
You know, like, so I mean, things like that. But people get hot under the collar about stuff like that. So you just never know. You never know. So, and I'm sure there are things that would set people off that I don't even know. Because they just have strong opinions about so many things, and I find out every day. Yeah. New strong opinions about books.
Yeah.
So thank you for taking the time to do this. I so appreciate it. This was so much fun.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks so much. That's a fun game.
It was my pleasure. And I can't wait to see you in May.
Yes.
In a few weeks.
Yes, I know. My
gosh, getting close.
May. It's already April. It feels illegal how fast.
Insane. But it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited about it. I'll be there with my PA. We can't wait. Love Portland. We're going to have
It's going to be so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you, listeners, for joining us for Queers and Quills, the official podcast. If you're already signed up to attend Queers and Quills, lucky you. Make sure to say hello to me and to Emily at the Oregon Convention Center in May. And if you're not, follow Queers and Quills on Instagram so you can follow along with all the fun this year and get updates about ticket availability in the future. Until next time, I'm Kirt Graves, and I hope you're having a very gay day. Queers and Quills, the official podcast, is produced and hosted by Kirt Graves, in coordination with Mahogany Mail and Marley Valentine. All copyrighted material is shared with permission. Music and sound effects are licensed through Storyblocks Audio. All opinions shared are those of the individuals and do not reflect the positions or policies of any company or organization with which they happen to be associated.